very good, very cool, everything else. And we got a guest too. Well, what happened to GFW? Well, we'll get to that right in a second. We will talk about this right now because it is a very big news, ladies and gentlemen. Big and important news this week. Holy crap. What happened to Global Force Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, TNA? What the world happened? Well, we're going to sit here and tell you about it right now. This is Dukect here live on the Dukect Lounge. So let's get into it. Well, supposedly, sascoops.com/Global Force Wrestling has been hemorrhaging funds, according to SI.com. GFW is hemorrhaging funds, and sources close to the situation have confirmed that they are ready to withdraw themselves from the wrestling industry and sell off Global Force Wrestling. And that is amazing, because earlier this year, they pretty much saved the company. And it gets even worse, according to Wrestling Inc., that Global Force Wrestling is in a state of jeopardy. And Jeff Jarrett, earlier this week, has taken a definite leave of absence as Chief Creating Officer, focused on personal matters. And they're basically preparing to sell the entire wrestling commodity. It says, quote, Barrasso states that GFW is hemorrhaging funds, and Anthem need to gut the Fight Network just to finance GFW. It was earlier this year Anthem acquired the company after GFW's merger with TNA Impact Wrestling. Barrasso reports that since Jarrett technically owns the name Global Force Wrestling, Anthem will be technically selling Impact Wrestling. Also, PW Insider reports that multiple meetings were held Tuesday afternoons to discuss the future of GFW. Members of the roster will grow to be certain that the company's security in the wake of Jarrett's announcement. With these latest reports, it seems like Anthem is looking for suitors to get rid of GFW. Barrasso reports that among the potential suitors are WWE, Ring of Honor, and believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, yes, ladies and gentlemen, Billy Corgan. Billy Corgan wants this company. And I am not kidding you. Holy crap. Billy Corgan wants this company. I don't know what else to say anymore. I mean, at this point, what else is there with this company? Just by posting links up here if people want to go in and look at that. So no Discord. I'm thinking I'll just open up a Discord chat just to really get people to get close and actually talk to someone to me and everything. Because, I just want to, because I think it'd be nice. Because everyone else in their mama have a Discord channel, so why not? I should put that there. But yes, guess too, you want to happen. That pretty much what happened to GFW. And here we are, ready to talk about it on this Thursday night, where Thursday Night Football is returning, and the Kansas City Chiefs are getting their butts kicked by the Patriots, which is not really surprising. In other words, water is wet. And meanwhile, my cat is not really impressed as he's sleeping on my little chair there. Okay. Yeah. And, yeah. Oh, yeah, they got a pass first podcast. But, yeah, it looks like this is going to be a very interesting couple of, interesting couple of stuff. This is going to be something I want people to go in it and talk about this, because it's going to be something I want you guys to talk about this subject, because quite honestly, I mean, I'm not really surprised by this. Is it really surprising anymore? It just, this is a company that still owns a tax lien. Oh, we got more guests here. What's up? Anyone here? I just wanted to talk about that. I mean, seriously, this is a company, TNA, has still owed taxes. Let me just see. Do they still owe? Let's see. Is it still owned? It still looks like it's still. I haven't seen anything else, but they still own. They are still, they still have that Tennessee tax lien at this point, so they can still be sieged by the state of Tennessee. Or did they already pay it off? Anthem already paid that off, because I haven't heard anything talking about that. I have not talked one hair talking about that subject, about anyone talking about that tax lien or anyone else. And it gets even crazier is that, honestly, some people are saying WWE's going to buy this, and I don't think they should. Because according to this actually comes in with a very good look in the blog from Forbes. Let's see. There was actually a good blog here by Alfred Kanawa talks about it, and he says, quote, a real good reason why the WWE should not buy any of the Impact Wrestling libraries. It is all Impact Wrestling really has to offer are tape libraries, which very well could be an overrated commodity in and of itself, especially when it comes to solving WWE's looming problem of attracting subscribers beyond its current low ceiling of hardcore fans. As WWE goes through several cutbacks in order to rally its profits, all while trying to figure out how to make WWE Network more mainstream after it seems to have peaked at 1.6 million subscribers, spending money to acquire a damaged product with a minuscule audience would defeat the purpose of its mission statement in 2017. True. Why would WWE waste all that money to buy a product that, they can buy DVDs and that's nice, but it's not growing the audience. The audience is still stuck at 1.6 million subscribers. It's still there. That's the issue. You're not growing. You're regressing. In fact, being stagnant, and that's worse. They need stuff because WWE is costing. They're not making as much money as it once were. So what do? I mean, what do you do if you're WWE? Do you buy this property? I honestly don't think it's a positive thing if you buy this company. There isn't, other than maybe getting the broken stuff. But honestly, other than that, there's not much you could buy. The tape libraries for AJ Styles and everything else. But will that gain more people, a significant number of viewers? So will that gain significant people going to this? Will it gain? What will it gain, ladies and gentlemen? Honestly, I don't think it will not gain anything at all. It won't. Seriously. Why should people care? Why should people, if you're a wrestling fan, you're already watching TNA or GFW, you probably already got the stuff there. Why would you buy this stuff? That's my question to you. Why? Why would you buy it? Because if you do, it would, why would you? And I want this question to be asked. I can't see Mr. Sports, so hooray. That's what I'm going to lose. But they're losing right now. But the question is, why would you, ladies and gentlemen, buy, if you're the WWE, why would you buy this type of product? Why would you buy this property? Why would you actually sit and buy this property? Because there's no real point to, quite honestly, buy a property like this. There's no real gain to get any new fans. And that it just seems that wrestling bubble, once again, the wrestling bubble, which wrestling fans seem they just can't get out of, they just don't see the big picture. I want them to start seeing that big picture, because if they don't, this is why people are not watching wrestling anymore. This is a reason why people have stopped going and stopped caring about pro wrestling. Is that the wrestling fans have made it too inward. And that's my worry. It's getting TNA and GFW, even though it lasts longer than ECW and WCW, which I'll get into that. Well, I'll do that a little bit later. But is it going to mean anything in the long run? I want to hear a comment or something besides, but will it expand the audience? And if you believe that it will expand the audience, I want you to give me a good argument why. I want to hear that argument. I want to. A little bit here. There it is. Much better. I think this is much better. You can hear me a lot more clear here. And that's what I want to hear from you, ladies and gentlemen, is that I want to hear that type of thing. And guest two, I want to hear your thoughts about this. And I guess three just left. But I want to hear this comment, because I know this here live in Dukect Lounge, which is on, not just on TalkShoe, but also on iTunes, also on YouTube.com/Dukect. In fact, hold on, let me just see if any of my stuff is demonetized, since everything in Mama's been demonetized. Because Lord knows, hey, you have to stop the evil people from making money, even though they're making this obnoxious content. Jeez Louise, people just... But even still, I won't care, because, at this point, YouTube, I want to keep this 100. I don't make any money off YouTube, at least not yet. So if I ever do, I think I probably won't even see. Any of my stuff is demonetized. Let's see. Oh, actually none. None of my stuff is demonetized. It's funny how my insignificant videos have not been demonetized, yet people who are more interesting are, so who knows. But anyway, I want to hear, I also on youtube.com/DukecSteve, also on VidMe, Dukecsteve on VidMe, also on Minds.com. Also, you can find me on freakingawesomenetwork.com. Also, you can find me on manicexpression.com and other places. Oh, I got a phone call here. Roddy K. Let's see. We put you up here. And there you are. Hello. You're on the air.
Hello, I'm guest two. You wanted an opinion about something?
Oh, yes. Guest two. What's up? One of your thoughts about what WWE, should they buy GFW? Do you think they should do it?
Did you get all the reports accurately? The Billy Corgan thing was in when TNA went out of business or whatever the case may be.
Oh,
yeah,
Billy Corgan
sued them but lost the lawsuit.
Actually, this is from WrestlingInc.com, and this is supposedly from supposedly PW Insider, that the potential suitors are Ring of Honor and former TNA investor Billy Corgan.
I thought Ring of Honor was WWE.
No. Ring of Honor, they might have a lot of Ring of Honor talent, but that's not WWE. They're still owned by...
If Ring of Honor would slow down on the overproduced wrestling matches that go too long, they could be a true arch rival to WWE. WWE needs one just to stay afloat. See, back in the day, the competition was going to put them out of business. Now the lack of is going to put them out of business.
I think it's a mix of that and oversaturation, sir.
Yes.
Oversaturation has, to a point. That's why I couldn't even watch some of the Mae Young Classics. It's just too much. You have 3 hours of Monday Night Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, 1 hour 205 Live, NXT. I mean, and don't get me started. Like, you have NXT takeovers and pay-per-views. That's like over 10 hours of wrestling right there. And that's way too much wrestling. But what are your thoughts? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But what do you think about this whole GFW situation, though? As the stuff has been, this is shocking. And what are your thoughts on it? Do you think this has been WWE has TNA, GFW, whatever has been? They've been skirting this whole they've been dancing around that midnight clock for a long while. You know what I mean? They've been skirting death before, but do you think this is about
I've only found New Japan Pro Wrestling on the direct TV channels or whatever I got. I haven't really seen Global Force, anything from Jeff Jarrett. And if he's going to try to take the his old style business and apply it today, I think there's some controversy there. But why was he having problems? What was the main issue? Because I kind of distracted. Just found your call. But they trying to sell a pay-per-view?
No, they were. I think there was a problem with Global Force Wrestling is because they have not been making any money. They have been hemorrhaging to the point they had to cut the Fight Network just for them to actually continue this GFW or TNA going. And the reason why they had to push it out because originally Billy Corgan was going to be the main person in charge, but by some finagling way, Dick Scars kept the company. And, Corgan got his money back for the most part and just went away and bought, I think, the name of the rights of the National Wrestling Alliance. And I don't know what he's going to do with that. But if he, and now I think Anthem now owns, went with Jeff Jarrett to own Total Nonstop Action, Impact Wrestling. And now they, they put themselves in this position. They put themselves in this one, making a deal with Jarrett to fuse GFW with TNA. But right now it looks like because right now Jeff Jarrett took an indefinite leave of absence as the chief creative officer, and now they're basically trying to get rid of the company right now. The people behind Anthem. Yeah, that's what it is.
I was telling somebody, there's a lot of wrestling calls. It seems like WCW Revolution or whatever. Because I've never seen yours actually. It's old. It's way back. The 9.2 version, 92417. You go way back. But I was telling somebody they need more cross promotion, like WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Global Force, whatever the case may be, needs to start sharing talent and needs to put it on TV to get the other company over just a little bit. Because I'm 41, and back in the day watching wrestling, in the 80s, when somebody would come out of the Minnesota territory or Crockett Promotions, it was exciting. But now that WWE's bought up all the territories, it doesn't have that excitement anymore.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, they need to start. They need to start swapping and having talent.
W has been doing that. I mean, the recent the cruiserweight stuff, they shared a lot of talent with UK and Central Japan talent as well. You had the same thing in the Mae Young Classic. They're sharing talent. In fact, their UK champion Pete Dunne is going into indie shows and defending the WWE UK Championship. So I think that's a really good thing.
I do too, but that's all WWE.
But I think Ring of Honor, Ring of Honor, for the most part, are sharing talent with New Japan. Another thing with GFW, which I did like from them, they were actually sharing talent with other wrestling promoters. I think they were doing some stuff with AWA, GHC, Pro Wrestling Noah. They were doing all these type of things, but with then you had the craziness with Sexy Star, where all that stuff happening with Triple Mania last week. And man, it seems like I think like GFW has been catching a lot of bad breaks. And personally, I haven't watched the product. I know what the channel is. It's on Pop, which, funny enough, they actually renewed it for another year. And I haven't watched any of the product because it just felt like it was just too much bad storylines.
Did you see Dixie Carter on the clip of WWE clip? She was in an interview.
I saw with Kurt Angle. Yes, I saw.
Yeah. How did they do that?
I think the reason why is because she was not really owning TNA right at that point. And she's actually pretty cordial with the big man, so at least Stephanie. So yes, I think that was the reason why she was on the Kurt Angle documentary, which I saw bits and pieces, but I will probably again, I'm just so overwhelmed by them. Like, I have the network there and I can see it. I just I just want to pace myself and not just watch it overgorge because it's just getting way too oversaturated. And I look at what the company, Impact Wrestling or GFW or whatever you want to call this, is that if someone does buy it, and I hope it does, my question then becomes, at this point, is there anything salvageable with this product right now? Because I watch it and I'm just...
What would they be buying would be my question, because the name TNA, let's be honest, it's, a female anatomy. It really is. It went down with that name. There is pretty much using that name, there is nothing to rebuild. So what would they be buying?
Well, they'd be buying Impact Wrestling. I think they're calling it that now. They are basically not calling it. I think they shifted away from TNA. They went to Impact. Now they're calling it GFW. But now, technically, funny enough, Global Force Wrestling is owned by Jarrett. And since then, they'll be just the people who buy Impact Wrestling will just be buying Impact Wrestling. So they'll have to get rid of the GFW, which honestly, at that point, GFW would not be that much of a loss because GFW as a wrestling organization did not go well. It bombed for the most part, and no one really cared about it. And the one thing I think what TNA should do, or Impact, first off, someone should buy it, be it Ring of Honor, and just have it absorb into Ring of Honor, which I think would probably be the best for the company alone, because I think Ring of Honor has that missing identity at this point. So I think they need to have more. Personally, I think more storylines. more, and they need to incorporate storylines and be more not. Because honestly, NXT has stole a lot of their fire. NXT has stole a lot of the Ring of Honor's fire. So I think they need to slow their pace down, introduce a little more story, and become more of the alternative. And if Ring of Honor, you know.
Preach,
Sorry.
brother. I'm sitting here thinking what they need. We could armchair quarterback this all day, but what they need, I was watching the matches. I was just thinking, man, they need to slow the wrestling down to go back to the old where they cut a promo, you know it's real from the heart, kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and then they go out and methodically battle each other. You know, the great matches of Macho Man Savage and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. That was great. That was a great high-speed performance. One of the last real methodical matches that was great was Stone Cold, Bret Hart, where he passed out in the ring. I mean, just slow the damn matches down. We don't need this big, super-duper flying stuff anymore. Slow it down. Go back to the old WCW, NWA days where the Nature Boy would come out and cut a promo, Dusty Rhodes would cut a promo, but they would show it in the ring. You know, they could go 60-minute time limit. Let's do it. Slow it the heck down.
Exactly. You don't need the 500 move sets. And honestly, I don't mind that, but it has to have a story. It has to have, weight behind it. It has to have like why are these people fighting? Is it because of championship? Is it because of a feud? Is it because trying to win the match to get to a championship position? This is the reason why I like Lucha Underground. It has the fantastical stuff, but it also brings in the ring action as well. And I love it because it's actually 1 hour long. They tell their stories. They tell everything what they need to tell. 1 hour, and that's it.
Yeah, like what happened? What happened to Dean Malenko? One of my favorite before him was Ron Garvin, the Garvin Stomp. Just people that would they would tell the story inside the ring.
It's gone. It's gone. Psychology is gone for the most part. And I know I'm not as old as you, sir. I'm in my 30s. I'm getting up there. So, it is when I look at wrestling right now, and when I see it, it's like everyone is doing all these moves, and it can be fun, and it doesn't matter. It's fun, but there's no meat to it. There's no substance. In fact, you can look at other entertainment. I can say the thing. It's like, yeah, it looks nice, but there's no substance. There's no soul to it. And that's what I don't like about it. It's like this, there's no real, they try to build all this other stuff, but they forget, to put the burger in there. They forget to get the meat in there, in that burger. It's all this nice dressing, the barbecue sauce, the A1 sauce, and the mustard, ketchup, the pickles, and everything else. And the cheese.
Yeah, wait a minute. Did you catch Monday Night Raw?
Oh, yeah, I watched Monday Night Raw. I saw some of it. I enjoyed it. Personally, I watched SmackDown. I think that was the best show of the week.
The first part was good. The first part of Raw was good, but at the end, the two giants, Big Show and Braun Strowman, was pretty good. And then they had to sell it with that cage breaking stuff. Come on.
I actually didn't like that. Maybe I wish it was if that was the last match of the Big Show, I would, personally, first off, I liked it. I really wish there was a reason behind it.
The match was
good, but there's no reason. Yeah. I think there should have been a reason behind it. That's my one thing, is that there should be a reason behind these wrestling. What's the point behind it? Behind putting Strowman and Big Show in a cage. That's like to me, the cage was like a blood feud ender. It wasn't just like a random thing, which I hate right now. It's like, it's a match in the cage. That's it. Who cares about actually building up stars?
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Talking about the days when the cage meant something. It mean these guys were pissed.
Yes. It meant like, okay, these two guys, their feud has gone to this boiling point, and they had to finish the cage.
We're gonna have to bring back Kevin Sullivan, the Taskmaster. 15-foot high steel cage, Halloween Havoc.
Oh yes. In fact, I'm busy doing a video review of actually probably one of the not high points of WCW, the Great American Bash 91, where Flair took the WCW title and just scattled because of, well, Jim Herd and his idiocy. But honestly, I will say this. I watched some of the matches, and while they're not good, I'm just like, man, it's so much different pace, you know? It's differently paced. I know who and the crowd, for the most part, they loved all of it. I wish I can go back to that because they're not trying to be smarky. They're not trying to it's not trying to make themselves a part, you know, it's not about themselves. They cheered what's good and booed what's bad. And more often than not, there were some bad stuff on there too, just all confusing stuff. But yeah, it's still, I miss that. And it's the reason why it's because the product has been, you know, trying to make them more part of the show. They want to make them so a part of the show that it detriments the true stars of the show, the wrestlers, performers, and everything else. It just seems like, well, you know, screw it. We'll just have everyone do these type of, you know, we'll just throw a match there just for people to watch. No real pressure.
The WWE, like I said, they really have no competition. They got competition, just not on the USA Network. And I see it all the time. Companies, people are afraid to downsize. So when they start seeing they're losing money, they're like, oh, my God, we got to change everything up. And then they continue to lose money. It's a never-ending cycle. You got to have competition. Don't be afraid to downsize. Don't be afraid to cut some crap, you know.
I honestly think they should be cutting a lot of stars. They've been hoarding a lot of stars at this point. I think they need to fire some of the people from. I think they need to cut 205 Live. I think they need to just outright cut it for the show and just make the Raw Cruiserweights more important on Monday Night Raw. That's what they need to do. They have an extra hour on Raw. They need to make that important. Personally, I wish you could just cut Raw to 2 hours, put it into 7 to 9. So what that kid audience, hey, kids are not going to stay up till 11 o'clock. No parent is going to let their kids stay up till 11:05, 11:30 while they're watching Overrun. No, they're not going to do that. So why don't they just say, okay, 7 to 9, end the Overrun, make the matches, you know, make people seem to care about them. Because people say, well, that means they can't get the people important. They're over. No, they got people over in 2 hours. Same as Cruiserweight, same as people on on a tag team. They rotate. That's what I like about Lucha Underground. It's not about the champion, all this stuff. They rotate the stars. They make, let's say, it's about the Trios Championship in 1 week, or say the Gift of the Gods Championship, or they rotate people around. They rotate them in storylines. That is what that's what they used to do. WCW didn't focus on the WCW title all week. When the NWO, they were there, but for the most part, they rotated around. You saw other talents. You saw other people. And you say, hey, you know what? That's cool. And when the other talent's there, they start to miss other people. Like, man, I miss this dude. Hey, I see him next week. That's good. It brings people in. It says, not only brings people in, but it also says you get to miss the stars. You miss them, and then you bring them back, and they're like, man, they appreciate them more. If you see them all the week, you're not going to appreciate them. But that's just me.
Oh, are you a mark for CM Punk like I am? I'm hoping he comes back just to get the pop. I hope they show things. Not really. Maybe Vince. Come on, CM Punk, we need you. Please come back, cut some promos.
I don't. I think Punk has the train has already left. I think he's okay at that point. I honestly think he shouldn't even be fighting in the UFC. I think he should have been fighting like some tomato cans and stuff like that, not some UFC fighter. But I think he Punk and needed to go right. I think he just needed to just step back. I think he stepped back.
He was a great character though, and
yeah, I'll give it that. He was great, but
there's a great work.
Yeah, I don't think there's no room for the show for him right now. They need.
Well, he doesn't have to be included. Just get the pop going. Maybe he can come in and be a heel, Brock Lesnar deal where he's a part-time Paul Heyman guy, whatever the case may be. But yeah, just for the smack talk, because he's the one that can do it.
Yeah, I get that, but but I'm just tired of bringing people in instead of just making the stars themselves. I mean, that to me was one of the most important things what WWE used to do. And that's what WWE used to do, is that they made stars in house. Same as WCW, same as Ring of Honor, same all. They made them in house. They made them important.
Well, hang on.
And
made the star. They made the stars or made them important.
They did both actually. They made the people into stars. I mean, yeah, that's what
When's the last
WWE
one made, though? Wasn't The Rock really the last one made?
Some would say Cena, Lesnar. I would say the last true star was Batista. I think that was the last really big star they made. And quite honestly, it took Randy Orton they screwed up Randy Orton. And now look what Batista has became. Not only he became one of the multi-time champions, but also look at his star in Hollywood. He's starring in one of the biggest movies series right now. Not only James Bond, but also the Guardians of the Galaxy. He stars in the Marvel stuff. In fact, he's going to be in Infinity War later next year. So yeah, he has really grown. Yeah,
he did some sucky Lionsgate films.
But yeah, you know what? He's cashing in. He's cashing in and making money. And the last, some would say Daniel Bryan, but when he was on that tier, he got hurt. So I would put him in that high mid-round range of being a star. Some would say Roman Reigns. I don't think so. Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins, maybe if he just does really good with this tag team stint, because they tried really hard to make him that heel, and I didn't care for him. And then that face turn, that botched face turn, because, oh my gosh, Daddy Hunter doesn't like me anymore. And I'm going to whine and bitch and moan and make fun and threaten Triple H's children, which I'm just sitting there. And then I still just in awe of that somehow he came out there and just basically, said, knock door, I'll make sure, what if your kids enter? I don't care. I'm like, dude, you're a heel, ladies. And then Triple H came out another hour, came out and just cut this brilliant face promo. And I'm like, damn, they just destroyed Rollins. They destroyed him.
This is all good stuff. I feel within my wrestling heart, I know the big wigs are behind the scenes, not WWE, but the big wigs are going, there's just not a market for it. No, that won't work. When it really would, there's got to be somebody with the cojones to say, let's do an Eric Bischoff, Ted Turner. Let's get, regardless of your opinion, let's get the thinkers together. Let's get Jeff Jarrett. Let's get Ben Russo, even though he doesn't like them. Let's get Eric Bischoff together. Let's get Paul Heyman, if he would, get all these people together, and they could totally get a TV airtime, something slow build, or even ROH, whatever. It's already got airtime.
I think,
and then start buying some of the talent.
I agree, and there are some talent there. I think there are some really good stuff here, but I think the days of the TV stuff is going to its final resting place. I think there's some really good stuff, like, for example, Wrestling Circus is on Twitch. I need to watch that. YouTube and all this stuff, $5 wrestling. I truly think in the indies and all that stuff, doing streaming, I think that's going to be the future. I mean, Lucha Underground is on Netflix, the season 1, season 2. I think season 3 is going to be up there when it's done. That's going to be a big deal when that thing explodes. Because I think when that is, because people have, it's getting a lot of watchers on Netflix. I honestly think, and I truly believe this, if there was somewhere away, a true big wrestling promotion actually did a show on Netflix, I think they can actually be a really top-down competitor, a true big competitor. Lucha Underground does, but they're in the limbo right now. But might not get a season 4. But yeah,
$8.99.
I think they're yeah, it's a lot cheaper, and you have a lot more choices, and I think there is something there to it. But my question, before I go, and I think we're gonna end this. It was great talking to you, man. You really are. So hopefully you'll follow me on this little journey on my Dukect Lounge. But I want to ask you one question before we wrap this up. Do you think that Billy Corgan actually does somehow buy this company, the Impact or whatever they call it? Do you think he could change the mood there? Do you think he could do some positive stuff?
I haven't heard the backstory on him. I do think he's actually a wrestling fan. I believe he could, but it would be a slow go. People would have to take time to see his vision, because everybody that's run wrestling into the ground has had wrestling experience. So Billy Corgan, just being a fan, might know better how to steer what he would like. So I think he would do good. I really do. But it's got to be just right.
I think I believe that as well. All right, thank you so much for being on the show, man.
All right, good night.
Good night, man. Thank you very much. Good. Peace out, man. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I think that was a pretty good show for audience, and thank you so much for joining me. And I want to hear more of your comments under below. So thank you so much for Roddy K. Thank you so much for guest 2, guest 3, who showed up and left. That's cool. I can't wait to see what your comments about this whole craziness here on my YouTube, the VidMe, the Freaking Us Network, and everything else. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you much for being here. This is Dukesy T here. Peace and love. I'll see y'all when I see y'all later.